Why is it that those who carry the deepest spiritual callings so often wrestle with the heaviest battles of lust? It is a struggle few are willing to admit, and even fewer dare to speak about. If you have ever felt this tension, if you have carried a sense of higher purpose while being pulled into hidden temptation, you are not alone. Across faith traditions, there is the idea of being set apart, chosen for something greater, entrusted with a mission that reaches beyond yourself, a calling that feels sacred, weighty, almost eternal. But here lies the paradox. The very people who long for purity, who devote themselves to the divine, are often the ones who encounter the fiercest storms within. Scripture does not hide this reality. David, the man after God's own heart, fell when he looked upon Bathsheba. Samson, strong beyond measure, was undone by his weakness for Delilah. Their stories are reminders of a sobering truth. Being chosen does not make one untouchable. Sometimes, it makes you a greater target. But this message is not about shame. It is about clarity. It is about compassion. And above all, it is about hope. In this journey, we will uncover 5 reasons why lust often strikes hardest at those with a higher calling, and more importantly, how these hidden battles can be transformed into strength, into wisdom, into deeper freedom. If you have carried this struggle in silence, let this moment be different. What you are fighting is not proof of failure. It may, in fact, be proof of your purpose. The first reason is, those who are most attuned to the spiritual realm often feel temptation with unusual force. When your heart is sensitive to God, you also become sensitive to everything else. What passes through another person's mind unnoticed can strike you like a storm. A glance, a fleeting thought, a sudden attraction. It doesn't feel small. It feels amplified. And then the guilt follows. If I'm called, why do I feel this weak? Shouldn't I be beyond this? This is the paradox of sensitivity. The gift that draws you closer to God also makes you more aware of darker currents. Like an antenna tuned to every frequency, your spirit picks up both the whispers of heaven and the static of temptation. Scripture reminds us that our struggle is not only against flesh and blood, but against unseen forces that resist the purposes of God. And those with great callings become high-value targets. The enemy knows that if shame can entangle you, your influence will fade, your confidence will fracture, your mission will stall. But sensitivity can be trained. Prayer, meditation, sacred study, these are not empty rituals. They are disciplines that retune the soul, shifting the antenna back to the frequency of grace. And when you walk with trusted voices, mentors, or friends, secrecy loses its grip. Sensitivity stops being a weakness and begins to sharpen into discernment. What once overwhelmed you becomes what draws you deeper into God. Your sensitivity is not your downfall. It is the very gift that, when refined, makes you strong. The second reason is, isolation makes the hidden battle with lust far more powerful. Those set apart for higher purposes often walk a road few can truly understand. The calling feels heavy. The experiences are unusual. The inner world is hard to explain. And so, step by step, they withdraw. It looks like solitude, time for prayer, reflection, focus. But over time, solitude hardens into loneliness. And loneliness is dangerous. Lust thrives in silence. It hides in the shadows where no one can see, twisting unspoken needs into secret battles. The longing to be known, to be loved, to be held, begins to ache. And when that ache deepens, lust whispers, "This will fill the void." This will make you whole, Scripture reminds us. Confess your faults to one another and bear each other's burdens. not to expose shame, but to break its power. Because secrecy is the soil where temptation grows strongest. In isolation, guilt compounds, shame deepens, the cycle tightens, and the one who once longed for holiness begins to believe they are beyond hope. The way forward is not in hiding deeper, but in stepping into honest vulnerability. A trusted mentor, a friend who listens without condemnation, a circle, even a small one, where masks can come off. When isolation is broken, healing begins. And when solitude is redirected, not as escape, but as communion with God, it becomes holy ground again. You were never meant to carry this burden alone. Freedom flows where honesty lives. The third reason is, the greater the calling, the stronger the warfare. Those entrusted with influence do not live for themselves alone. Their words shape lives. Their choices ripple outward. Their presence carries weight, and that influence makes them a target. Because if one life falls, the damage doesn't end with them. It spreads to families, to communities, even to generations. This is why lust is such a weapon. It does not only wound the individual, it fractures trust. It sows cynicism. It whispers to onlookers, "See, no one can be trusted," and for the one who falls, the shame feels unbearable. Have I destroyed everything? Am I disqualified forever? History has shown us this pattern again and again. David's failure with Bathsheba shook his household and kingdom. Samson's weakness for Delilah cost him his strength, his freedom, and his mission. Their stories remind us, the higher the calling, the more relentless the assault. Lust is chosen precisely because it cuts deep, body, soul, reputation, and trust all at once. But here is the deeper truth. Temptation intensifies not because you are worthless, but because your purpose is priceless. The enemy does not waste energy where nothing is at stake. The answer is vigilance, not fear, not paranoia. Boundaries are not chains, they are shields. Prayer, reflection, honest conversations, even simple rest and care of the soul. These are not luxuries, they are armor. To carry a greater calling is to guard the heart with greater care. And when vigilance is paired with grace, even the fiercest warfare cannot silence the purpose planted within you. The fourth reason is, unhealed wounds open the door to lust. Behind many temptations lies a deeper ache, rejection that was never resolved, abandonment that still lingers, trauma pushed down but never healed. These wounds do not vanish simply because we ignore them. They wait in the silence, whispering lies about who we are and what we are worth. In moments of weakness, lust disguises itself as comfort. It promises relief. It offers the feeling of being wanted, cherished, powerful, if only for a moment. But when the moment fades, the wound is still there. And now it is covered with guilt and shame. Instead of curing the pain, lust deepens it. This is why lust feels so powerful. It does not only feed on physical desire, it feeds on emotional hunger, the longing to be seen, the ache to be valued, the craving to be held without condition. When those longings are unmet, lust steps forward with a counterfeit promise. I can fill the void. I can make you whole, but it never does. Instead of healing, it distorts. Instead of connection, it isolates. Instead of intimacy, it multiplies emptiness. The way forward is not in suppressing the desire, but in tending to the wound beneath it. That means facing the pain through prayer, through confession, through counseling, through trusted companionship, naming the rejection, grieving the loss, forgiving the betrayal. When wounds are brought into the light of grace, lust loses its grip. Scars may remain, but scars can tell a story, not of defeat, but of survival, healing, and redemption. What once drew you into counterfeit love can, in time, become the very place where you discover real freedom. The fifth reason is, strong gifts do not erase human weakness. It is easy to assume that those who inspire, who teach, who comfort, are somehow immune to hidden struggles. But gifts are not the same as character. You can sing with beauty. You can speak with wisdom. You can serve with compassion. And still, behind closed doors, you can wrestle with weakness. This is where the danger lies. Success creates the illusion of strength. Others may say they have it all together. You may even start to believe it yourself. But inside, cracks remain. Cracks where lust can creep in, feeding on pride and secrecy. This paradox is as old as Scripture. David, gifted as king and poet, still stumbled. Samson, endowed with strength, still fell. Their gifts were real, but so were their flaws. And so it is today. Gifts can move crowds in public while the soul struggles in private. That does not mean the gift is false. It means the vessel is human. Gifts flow through grace. They do not guarantee maturity. To understand this is not to wallow in shame. It is to walk in humility. To remember that no gift exempts us from the disciplines that shape the inner life. The path forward is honesty, discipline, and grace. Prayer that steadies the soul. Fasting that trains the will. Study that renews the mind. Honest accountability that breaks secrecy before collapse. And above all, leaning on grace. Not the cheap kind that excuses sin, but the kind that transforms weakness into testimony. When weakness is met with humility, it no longer destroys, it refines. The very struggle that once threatened to undo you can, in time, become the story that strengthens others. If you carry this battle, remember this: it does not define you. Lust may whisper shame, but shame is not the final word. Grace is. You are not weak because you struggle. You are strong because you still rise. Every time you resist, you grow. Every honest prayer draws you closer. Every step toward vulnerability breaks the silence that once bound you. The very intensity of this fight is not proof of failure. It is proof of calling. The fire is fierce because your purpose matters. Your life carries weight. Your presence carries light. So lift your head. Do not hide in the shadows. Let your wounds become wisdom. Let your weakness become testimony. Let your story become proof that no temptation, no shame, no failure can silence the purpose planted in your soul. This is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning of a deeper one. The battle you face today may become the victory that strengthens generations tomorrow. Hold fast, step forward, and remember, the final word over your life is not lust, but love.